In this lesson, we are going to talk about perspective, how to recognize which type of perspective you can find in photos, and how to deal with it when you have to draw objects in perspective. Now, this is also useful when you want to copy a photo from like you found on internet or in a catalog, and you want to turn that photo into a 3D file, okay, a 3D scene. It's an incredible, useful exercise. I always tell students that, if they want to learn 3D, they should take a photo like this one from the IKEA catalog and try to copy it in a 3D software. Now, the first thing you need to do is to find the camera, so to understand the perspective of this image. And this is relatively easy since it's a one-point perspective. Now, perspective works because of an horizon. And how can we find the horizon on a picture? In this case, since everything is in front of us, you can tell that the perspective is leading us to look at one point here in the center. You see all these lines bring us to this point, which is called vanishing point. And the vanishing point stays on the horizon. And if the camera we use to take this picture is straight, then the camera stays on the horizon. So the camera at this point is this height from the ground. So in case you want to know how many centimeters from the ground you want to push up the camera, you want to bring up the camera, just find the horizon, draw these lines, find the vanishing point. From the vanishing point, you draw an horizontal line, and you find that that's the height of the camera. And you can tell, in this picture probably is 1.35 centimeters. Okay, just looking at the countertop. How can you tell this is a one-point perspective? Well, we have this diagonal lines which brings you to the vanishing point, but all the other lines, so vertical lines and horizontal lines, are perfectly 90 degrees between them. And it's like they are like parallel to the borders of the canvas. And that's how you can tell it's a front perspective, or one point perspective, as you may call it. Okay, and this is quite simple. And here we have another example. You see, everything looks like is looking here in the center. Every line we have here, and you can tell because if you draw those lines a little bit longer, you see they point to this vanishing point here in the center, and at that point we have the horizon. And this is perspective widely used in cinema. Think about Kubrick, and it's a really strong perspective if you use this one, because if you force the viewer to look at one point with all these lines, is a very strong choice, and there's a high chance that the guy or the girl, will look at there. So you can see, you can help yourself also with other elements. In this case, the photographer was really lucky because of this clouds pointing there. Anyway, this is a pretty cool. Sometimes you may have the problem that a front view, with one vanishing point, may looks flat. And I suggest you to add more elements, I don't know, something close to you, like these columns, something in the middle, like this statue here, this place here, and then something else or further away. So, you need to create something like a path that brings you to the focus point. And it's relatively easy, but you have to do it, okay? Otherwise, the image will look very flat, probably, and probably boring also. When you go up by one vanishing point, you get, of course, two vanishing points, and you can get something like this. And as you can see here, if I trace all the lines which comes from all those parallel items in the 3D world, so I don't know, the top of this roof, the base of the house, the top of the, this tower here. They are all parallel in the real world. So if you trace them to the horizon, they will end up in the same spot, in the same vanishing point. But this time we have two of them. And as you can see, one is very, very far away on the left and very far away from, out from the canvas. So, the vanishing points can be outside the canvas, and most of the time they are outside the canvas. And generally speaking, if they are very far away, like in this case, the focal length is really high. I would say that, is like higher than 50. So everything looks pretty flat. And, like if you, take the picture, like if you take the photo from with a telescope lens, okay? And this is it. So if you want something, that looks, with this kind of perspective, with this kind of almost non-distortion, looks like an orthographic view, you can put those two vanishing points very far away. In the other way around, if you move them very close, the image will look very distorted and is basically like the same of having a very low focal length. Okay. Another example of high focal length perspective is this one. You see, you can. That could look like an orthographic view, but if you trace those parallel, lines, they will end up on two very far away vanishing points. And basically, this is like, you're telling the viewer this is a zoom. Okay, I'm very far away, and I'm using a really high focal length to take that picture. And another thing, if you watch this image, you see that this line here, which is the border of this crop field, it doesn't point to the same vanishing point on the horizon. What that means? It means that this line is not parallel to this one in the real world. So now that you know that, you can see if from photos, elements are parallel to each other. And then we have this example, and if you look at this example on the top cube here has an horizon like the other two photos I showed you. So it's a two-point perspective. But if you look at the other cubes will not lay on the same horizon. What that means? That means that if this cube here is parallel to our ground, then this is our horizon. But if the other cubes are tilted, then they will not point to our horizon. They will point to another horizon, and which is not the real one. And you can just say, okay, if this cube here does not match with the real horizon, then this cube is in some way tilted. And that's exactly what happens here, okay? This is exactly what happens here. So remember, you can have more than one type of vanishing point in the same image, but only one couple of vanishing point is like the real one for your own horizon. Then if you have others, it means other objects are tilted, okay? And so that's okay. And if you look here, we have the same idea here with the cubes, but this time the vertical lines are not straight. You see, in this one, all the vertical lines are perfectly straight and parallel to each other. In this one, vertical lines are not perfectly verticals. They are like, diagonals, and they are not parallel. And in that case, we have a 3-point perspective. We have two vanishing points here on the horizon, and then we have another point here at the bottom in this case. What that means, if the third vanishing point is at the bottom, that means that we are looking down with the camera. If the vanishing point is at the top, then we are looking up with the camera. And you can tell because of this example here, you see the vanishing point is, the third vanishing point is at the top, and so that means we are looking up with the camera. And vertical lines are not straight, which is doable, which is okay if you are too close to the building, or if you want to add the feeling that the building is so big and you're small, or you want this kind of epic feeling, and it's okay. You don't have to straight vertical lines like we are used to doing ArcViz, which is, by the way, something I don't like. So this is it. I mean, the thing is, now that you know that we have three types of perspective, actually there's more, because you can store the lens like a fisheye lens, and so you can add more than more vanishing points and so on. But we will keep it easy for now at 3 vanishing points. Once you decide what kind of image you want, you can start creating the number of vanishing point you want in the canvas, and you can start tracing lines to build some bounding boxes, like, I don't know, a cube, a cylinder, a sphere, or stuff like that. And you can start building your own image. Okay, so this is what we're going to do now. We are going with a fresh canvas, and we're going to see a very quick and easy technique to get vanishing point, and perspective lines. And then we are going to do some boxes, and we are going to paint them in order to get the idea we have some elements in our scene. So here we have a new canvas, and I press Ctrl R to get the rulers, and then from the rulers on the top I drag down a guideline, which is my horizon. Now I put my horizon under the half of the document, since if you have the horizon too high, the image will look a little bit weird. But anyway, let's take the polygon tool, and then we need to select shape here, fill, nothing, and then stroke. You can pick a color you want, something very visible. I'll pick like red. 1 pixel is fine. And then you go here and you put 100 sides or even more, and then you click on this clog option, you pick on star, and you click on indent sides by, and you write 99%. And in this way, when you have a new layer, you make a new layer, and you start dragging from the center, you see, you will have something like a star, and all those lines will be our perspective lines. And now that is there, you can, just go down with the opacity if you want, and you can start drawing. And this is like a 1-point perspective. I suggest you to go with this brush here, since you don't want to paint with pressure. You can use the mouse, you can use the shift button, and so you will just click on 1 point, press shift, click on another point, and you will do like a straight line straight away. And the other lines you will paint will be perfectly straight with the with the side of the canvas. See? Oops, sorry, mistake. Is this one? See? And of course, if you don't have the guideline, you can point to the horizon, you see, and you get what you want, and you can then delete the rest. So this is working as 1-point perspective. If you want 2-point perspective, you can just select this, move it around, Ctrl J to duplicate it, and move it again here somewhere. You see, you can even put it outside the canvas if you want, and then you can start drawing. The closer it will be, the more distorted will be, the perspective, I would say. See? and just follow the lines. That's it. And if you have something tilted like this, I don't know, you have like a first cube like this. And then on top of this, you have something, you want to put something tilted, okay? You can even have a third, you know, vanishing point. Maybe you change the color, make a new layer, you change the color, maybe green. And so now we have a third vanishing point, and you have those lines you can follow. See? See, it looks like this plane is tilted and is touching the box. And you know, this is the idea. And of course, if you have a 3-point perspective, you can adjust this. See, and it looks like we are just very small, looking up to a tall building or something like that. And you know, this is it. Now, trust me, most of the time your vanishing point will be outside the canvas. Because if you're keeping them too close, like in this example, the camera length, the focal length is going to be too low and the image is going to be too distorted. Now, before going to the next video, your exercise, your homework is to go for a 2-point perspective, so 2 vanishing points, and you have to draw and build a scene with 3 cubes randomly, you know, scattered in the scene.